How you doing? My name is Christopher Valentin Neves. And this conversation, I'm basically going to talk about some of my goals and some of my accomplishments. I was born on December 9th, 1981. Was 2 months premature, was diagnosed with so-called CP, and my hip is dislocated. I was in the incubator for about a month. I was supposed to be born February 7th, 1982, but it didn't turn out so well. But basically, I was born with CP, wheelchair bound practically all my life. As you can see, there's a scar on my neck from the incubator. That's where they fed me food and stuff. But from what I heard, I was one of the strongest babies in the ward. I wasn't close to dying, but I needed a blood transfusion, and never met my dad. Mom and stepfather abused me. Mom and stepfather abused me. My stepfather made me feel up until the age of 18. He made me feel not that I was rebelled against because I was 18. I just decided not to deal with him at the age of 18. He would always call me fat, useless, and a cripple or invalid because I would have to be lifted or put in the car. Like, I never really lived with them, but on the weekends we would go to movies and stuff, and he would make my life real miserable. Like, in the back of his head, he was like, "Oh shit, I gotta do all this. Take the guy out the car, put his shit in the trunk." So after a while, I just said enough of this shit. Like, my mom even told me, she basically said straight out, "I'm not picking them over you," and tough shit. She basically told me, "If nobody kiss your ass, tough shit." She even told me one time, I called her when I was about 16, told her my back was hurting, to make a doctor's appointment. She made it seem like I was too much of a bother. She said that she got better things to do. I'm not the only child she has. So anyway, thank God for my grandparents and my aunts and uncles. One of my uncles, who's a police captain and a lawyer, Valentin Jr., which is also my grandfather's name, would take me to restaurants, buy me stuff, always spend time with me. I was his kid before he even had a kid. And still once in a while he'll treat me to go to the garden. And a bunch of my other uncles. My tia Belinda, who's my heart, she's the greatest thing. She always stuck by me and still does. And her husband, Uncle John, even though we're not blood, I consider him blood. And his son Christian, they took me on vacation with them. I stayed in his mom's house, and we went on a cruise to Mexico, to Cayman Island, so all the places. So they really treat me like family. Even the dogs, well, one of them died. And the dogs are very overprotective. Two big Labradors. If they see my cousin lifting me, they kind of think he's hurting me, and they'll jump on my chest to try to shield, which is pretty cute. But all in all, growing up wasn't easy. I had a cousin who we would always compete over who had the best toys, who had the best video games, and he kind of made me feel kind of bad because he had a dad and I didn't, which we kind of patched that up nowadays, and he's kind of cool. I just wish he would keep in touch, but we patched that up. But all in all, I used to feel bad about my condition, and still do to this day. Who wouldn't? Sometimes, about not having a dad, not having a family. Like, all four of my brothers and sisters, I have a girl that's 7 years older than me, after me. I have one that's damn near a decade younger than me, 9 years. I have one that's 12 years younger than me, and one that's 17 years younger than me. And they all walk, so that kind of basically fucks with your head a little bit. And my stepfather told me that I was never gonna amount to nothing. Like, when my brother started playing baseball when he was a 4-year-old kid. He was real good, and my stepfather would brag and brag and brag and brag. And so I thought, if a little kid, if they could teach a little baby to learn how to play baseball, my situation isn't that bad. Maybe I should play sports, you know. So I got involved with the Special Olympics in school. Nobody supported me because they thought I was jealous of my brother. But I won 10 medals, 10 medals. Um, and I play wheelchair sports for United Spinal Association. I don't play now because my shoulder, my neck, and my back is bad. Um, Welcomed the experience, enjoyed it. Played adaptive sports in high school, volleyball, hockey, um, basketball was my favorite, even though I always got stuck with baseball for whatever reason. Basketball was always my favorite. Don't really follow sports, but I love wrestling and I love full contact sports. I love boxing. I don't follow it much anymore because there's not really anybody that's catching my eye right now. I could dig UFC. I dig it. Obviously, like I said, I'm a big fan of wrestling. One of my favorite wrestlers is Hulk Hogan. And I was big into movies. Like I'm a big Rocky fan. I love Roger Rabbit. I love the Spider-Man movies. I love the early '90s Batman movies or late '80s, whatever you call them. And I'm big into cartoons. Like I'm a big Thundercat buff and He-Man buff. And as I became older, like 12 years old, I started collecting figures. I never really played with toys growing up. I used to bite the hell out of them and throw them around. But I really started getting into it. I would open them up and just leave them in the box. People would make fun of me because as I was a kid, I never finished coloring books. So I never opened up some of my toys because I was kind of a weird kid because I kind of wanted to be well enough alone. I would make my own drawings anyway. Yeah, I'm a good drawer. And people used to make fun of me because they used to say, when we buy you a toy for Christmas, are you actually going to open it? Or are you going to do that thing that you always say, don't open it, don't open it. But anyway, those are my interests. I'm big into video games, whether it be old or new. That's the thing. Games are games to me. Like I said in my other video, you don't see anybody throwing away dominoes or card games, or for that matter, Monopoly. Graduated high school in '99, made a speech in front of 15,000 people. Didn't like my high school very much. Wish they had a school in Park Slope. I had to go all over by Coney Island, Chestnut Avenue, East 17th Street. Didn't like Edward R. Murrow. Don't recommend it. Sorry, I just don't. The people were kind of stuffy, and the staff was kind of biased. There was some teachers that I was close with. I even went there 5 years ago to pick up my transcript so I could go back to college, and people just walked by me as if they saw me yesterday, not even realizing that I left 5 years ago. I recently visited by there, but they're so stiff and so stuck up. They wanted me to make an appointment. So I said, screw this, I love my college anyway. That's the thing, I hated school growing up and I never really had friends. I mean, I had friends, but it was like, if you're out of sight, you're out of mind. And they never would call me because they would figure that I was boring. And they would rather hang out with people that could move around and do stuff and do this and do that. So they figured like, what the hell, what we gonna do, sit down here and watch TV, which is wrong. They said they didn't hang out with people in high school after I graduated because I would call some people, but then come to find out later they was exactly hanging out with the people they said they wanted. But I digress. But college to me, college to me is wonderful. I love the people there. It's very disabled friendly. The people there are wonderful. I met a lot of friends, and hopefully I'll be willing to work there as a disabled advocate or anything else. And good stuff.